G'day guys, welcome back to the first video of 2023. Now in this one, we are going to be trying to solve the overheating or the E5 fault problem in these 85 litre Kings upright fridges. Now you guys would remember that we went out a few months ago and bought one of these 85 litre Kings upright fridges. Now over this summer, it's safe to say we've had some issues. Now we have had some overheating issues, we have had some power draw issues, but I think they are sort of one in the same. So in this video, we are going to solve that problem by adding some ventilation and letting this fridge breathe a little bit easier. And then obviously that's going to make the fridge run a lot more efficiently, cool a lot better, and save us on power. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so if you didn't already know how these fridges work, guys, they are just a normal compressor fridge, same as a chest fridge, except they draw their air to cool the fridge compressor down a little bit differently. With most chest fridges, you have a vent on one side and a vent on the other. So cool air will come in one side, hot air will go out the other. Now, exactly the same with this fridge, except it draws cool air from the back and discharges it out the side. So for us being this side here, works exactly the same. It has to draw that cool air in, pass it over the compressor and all the electronics, the control system, that sort of thing, and then discharge it out the side where it just vents back out into the cab. So you guys would remember I built this box specifically for this fridge and I made it pretty bloody snug. So with that, I think that is pretty much the problem. All right, now the idea is actually fairly simple. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take out some of the timber just by drilling holes, and hopefully that gives it enough space to push that air from the back all the way out the side. So let's get this fridge out. I'll get it on the deck and I'll show you how the cooling system works and how we're gonna modify this box to increase that airflow. Right, so hopefully you guys can see the fridge here easy enough, and I'll just quickly give you a run through how the cooling of this fridge works. So right at the back here, you can see that little grate. There's actually a little fan behind there, and that's your intake fan. So that intake fan is going to suck cool air through the back of the unit, through a set of cooling fins, and then push that cool air past the compressor, the control module, all the electronics, and then push that air through this perforated section here on the side. Now I hear what you're saying. Righto Luke, that's all well and good, but how am I going to fix that if I have a box around the fridge? Pretty simple. So basically what you have to do, if you know you have cool air coming in the back of your fridge, you basically just have to unrestrict anything that you have over this side. We've got the box that comes over the top and down the sides. So for us, all I really have to do essentially is drill some holes around this section of the fridge box to let that hot air escape. Now, just so you guys know, you probably can't see it on the camera, but I am using a straight edge of the spirit level, just so I know that I'll have this, that I'm going to be drilling these holes nice and level. They don't have to be too uniform. I'm going to try to make them as uniform as I can and as equally spaced out as I can, but it's not the end of the world if they're not. These, again, these are just to vent hot air out the side of the fridge. So like I said, I'm going to try to make these as uniform as I can, but it really isn't that important. Now, depending on your own requirements and how hot you're going to be running this fridge, so we are pretty well running this fridge in temperature above 35 degrees nearly all the time, apart from winter. So for us, I'm going to go ahead and drill another row of holes, but if you're only going to be using this in around the 20s, up to about 30, maybe 35, you're probably just going to get away with just having one row of 12 mil holes or whatever size hole you've drilled. I'm going to go ahead and do another row, and then I'm going to tidy it up so it looks all nice and clean and you don't actually see any of those vent holes. Now I'll give you guys just a little bit of a heads up, because we've drilled through from the inside, because I didn't really want to mess up the carpet too much. It will, and I had a hunch this was going to happen, but it will push your carpet. If you've used glue to glue this carpet down, it will push your carpet off the timber. So no big deal. You just got to go back and re-glue your carpet back onto your timber if it starts bubbling out or pushing off the wood at all. So make it nice and smooth, and then go back and stick your carpet back down over the top. Righto, so hard bit done, Holes have all been drilled. We've glued the carpet back on. So now we should be able to just chuck this fridge back in, crank it up and see how it goes. Alright, so before I put the travel buddy back up against that wall, I just want to give you guys a bit of a look down there just to show you that you can't really see those vent holes and it's pretty seamless. Even though I've knocked in probably 15, 16 holes, you still can't see it and you still can Velcro stuff straight back over the top. So hopefully this is going to make all the difference in the world when we turn the fridge back on. And depending on your setup and what you've got up against this wall, so you can see that we've got the travel buddy. So I've made those holes just above the line of the travel buddy by about 2 centimeters, so or an inch if you're over in the States, just so even though the travel buddy is up against that wall and when it does run it gets a little bit warm, it's not gonna affect the fridge venting just above the travel buddy oven. So alright, so you guys probably saw that. I just started the fridge back up again and you can tell straight away, if you couldn't tell it by me holding that piece of paper at the vent, just hold my hand there, I can feel that air pushing through all those holes. So it's definitely letting that air come through. And I reckon that was definitely the problem that I was facing nearly all summer long. Every day we had over about 35 degrees, this thing would just run non-stop. It would just keep trying and trying and trying to get down to, I set mine at 2 degrees, so it was just constantly running and running our battery flat nearly every day. So something to really keep in mind with these fridges is you really do need to look after the ventilation of them. Look, honestly, truth be told, I did this intentionally. I wanted to see how this fridge went with pretty average ventilation and put it under a little bit of stress just to, it's a King's fridge, it's cheap. I wanted to see just what it could take before it, you know, gave up. So I think I've pretty much proved the limit. You really do have to look after the ventilation on these King's fridges. And look, honestly, it goes for any fridge. It doesn't matter if it's a King's fridge, an upright fridge, chest fridge, or, you know, one of the big brands out there. You really do have to look after them and ventilate those gases properly. So I think this thing is going to be standing up a lot better to those hot days. Right guys, if you liked that video, then you're definitely going to want to check out the one on screen now. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button underneath. That's going to keep you up to date with all of our uploads, all of our reviews and all of our adventures. Guys, massive year this year and thank you all for being a part of it. Get out and about and we'll see you in the next one.